seeing it.
Judge Napolitano,
Hello,
people.
Jamie. How are you?
I know to you I may look old. Hope this statement ain't too bold, but here comes the judgment. Here comes the judge.
Judge Napolitano at Judge Nap, judgenap.com. It's always great to have you on the show, my friend.
Likewise, Jamie. Good morning to you. How are you, my buddy?
I'm doing great. And you know what's interesting? Let's dispatch this one fast because I want to get to the NSA deal. But why the Trump administration there's very little that I'm unhappy about with the Trump administration. But this idea somehow that they're now, like Reince Priebus, what's he doing talking about changing libel laws and things? I mean, come on, man. Just move along.
God, you're preaching to the choir here. I don't really think they know what they're talking about because the laws, and I'll say the word in quotes, quote, laws, quote, are not statutes written by Congress. They're Supreme Court opinions which have interpreted the First Amendment to encourage broad, wide, open, robust, even vicious debate, which includes satire, opinion, excess, stretching of truth, all that kind of stuff. The belief being that the more combative ideas, the more the electorate will be informed and can pick which ideas it likes. If they think that they can get the Congress to enact a statute which will make it more difficult to sue public figures because they don't like what was said about them, such a statute would be unconstitutional. They're certainly not going to get the Supreme Court to change its mind. He just added somebody to the Supreme Court who fully agrees with that jurisprudence. So, and the press knows this. So this is not even, you can't even say, well, it's a brushback pitch. It's not a brushback pitch. People in the press, left, right, middle, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, progressive, libertarian, socialist, Marxist, whatever, laugh at this kind of a threat.
Yeah.
So I don't know where it's going to go other than just excess verbiage because they don't like being criticized. If you don't like being criticized, get out of the public eye. It happens to all of us.
The media is doing a fine job on its own of reducing its stature. There's no reason to kind of have to push that along from the White House. They're doing a fine job hurting themselves, and I just keep letting them do it, you know.
Agreed.
So this NSA, what is it about them stopping the foreign intelligence collection activities? What's going on there?
Well, it's a long story. I'll give you the 2-minute version. Section 702 of the FISA, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, is the section that authorizes the surveillance of foreigners who speak to or communicate with Americans without a warrant, without a search warrant from a federal judge, or without a FISA warrant from a FISA judge. The difference between the two warrants is night and day. But this allows the surveillance of a foreign person who speaks to an American. Now, that, of course, means they have copies of both ends of the conversation, what the foreigner said to the American and what the American said to the foreigner. But they have taken that authority and claimed that if the two of them refer to a third person, whether American or not, that the statute then authorizes the surveillance of that third person without a warrant. That has been the position of the NSA since at least 2005. On Friday, the NSA on its own said, well, we're now changing our mind. We think we have the authority to do this, but we're not going to do it. We're going to stop going after the person referred to in the conversation or the email or the text. If we want to go after that person, we're going to get a FISA warrant. Now, why are they doing that? Well, they're doing it because Section 702 is about to expire on December 31st of this year, and they want to appear, keyword, reasonable in their interpretation of it because they have to go back to Congress to get it extended. So when they say we are no longer going to surveil a person mentioned in a conversation under Section 702, what they're not telling you is they have other sources of authority that permit the surveillance of everybody under any circumstance at any time without a search warrant, and they will continue to do so. So this is a shell game that the NSA is playing with members of Congress so that this authority, which they don't need but which gives them cover, will be renewed.
Wow. Well, I mean, at this point, though, given the way things are going, you're pretty sure it will be renewed, or will there be, like, for instance?
I think, and this is one of the reasons that I was happy with the tumult that was caused with my own revelation last month of the involvement of British intelligence in surveilling Mr. and later President-elect Donald Trump. Happy about the tumult that was caused, because the American public will soon watch Congress debate this, and the American public is entitled to have that debate informed by more knowledge rather than less. So the more we know about what the federal government is doing to us and in our name, the better informed we can be. I don't know if Section 702 is going to be reinstated in its present form. There are liberal Democrats and libertarian Republicans who feel, as I do, that the whole thing is unconstitutional because the Constitution supersedes everything else in government. And how can something in government, like the Congress or the NSA, violate the Constitution? I think the vast majority of members of Congress have bought the argument that all this NSA spying, there are 60,000 NSA agents in the country, that all this NSA spying somehow keeps us safe. Well, it doesn't keep us safe, I would argue, because it's too much information. It's information overload. If the NSA targeted people as to whom it has a suspicion, it is more likely than not to find the Orlando or San Bernardino shooters before they shoot rather than after. So I don't know where this is going to go, but the more the American public knows about it, the more meaningful the debate will be.
Yeah.
This debate will occur in the fall.
Well, that's true. You're right about that. And I guess if I am going to defend this operation, I guess although there's no way they could offer proof of it without divulging certain secrets, but you could say, well, look, we haven't had a terrorist attack here on U.S. soil, a major one, so it's working. But you really can't prove that.
Well, that's an argument some people will make, and others will say, it turned out that the Orlando massacre was the subject of many text messages and emails that the NSA missed because it was buried in their mountain of evidence.
Right,
and the same thing with San Bernardino. It's like, how many? It's like is this glass of water half empty or half filled?
Right.
These are arguments as to which there is no answer. But it is clear, even by the NSA's own admission, that it can't digest and process all the information it has.
Right.
So do we need 150,000 NSA agents instead of 60, or do we need them to do what the Constitution says they should do, target people as to whom there is suspicion, and leave everybody else alone?
JudgeNapp.com @JudgeNapp. It's always a privilege. Thank you, sir.
All the best, my man. Until next week.
You too.